Welcome back to the next Brain Bash session where we're going to consider an episode. I've titled this one, Through a Glass Darkly, in the Land of Dreams and Long Shadows. Dance of the Dead, the form of things unknown. In the unfolding drama that is The Prisoner, we encounter an episode that is perhaps the strangest, the most enigmatic, certainly otherworldly, dreamlike and ambiguous, yet enticing, romantic, intriguing, a halfway house between a Jean Cocteau fantasy and a Kafkaesque nightmare. The parallels are not dissimilar to that of the plight of Joseph K. in Kafka's novel The Trial, with the prisoner just as powerless in the face of an uncaring, oppressive bureaucracy with its illogical and surreal peculiarities. Phantasmagoric, yet grim, and with a deep sense of foreboding, on one level the prisoner descends into the underworld of his own soul. No other episode has quite the atmosphere, the fantastical elements, or the cinematic qualities. Its use of expressionistic dialogue enhances this surreal mood. The proceedings and pacing is measured and appears to deal in shadows and subtle illusions. Its substance is deceptive and illusory, so mysterious that there are mere bare hints of what is actually taking place beneath the surface that tempts us. We are lulled into this seductive environment. Having summoned up this air of intangibility, we are surprised as the prisoner when he discovers the depth of terror and ruthlessness that lurk beneath the exterior of the village. It is a battle for his very self, symbolized by the terrifying, mindless mob that stretches both his mettle and our imagination. This episode is laced with fear and impending darkness. It is as though the prisoner was roaming in the nocturnal world of the unconscious. The episode sharply divides prisoner enthusiasts like no other. Certainly, it could be argued as it is the most representative. It takes bold risks and dares the audience to be a party to its audacious spirit. The detractors cite it as being confused, perplexing, an episode in search of a plot, a montage of ideas and scenes with a nonsensical ending. But the admirers praise its hypnotic quality, high production values, the visually lyrical camera work and pacing, its ability to seduce the viewer, to draw us further into this world. Perhaps more profound and dealing in magic and the underworld of the mind more than any other episode, it repays repeat viewing. Submitting to the labyrinth, the world of the unconscious is realized, and the prisoner's inner journey touches us too, as it echoes on and on. This writer, when first seeing the episode, admired it rather than liked it. This was because I too found it confusing with its unconventional narrative structure. We drift, trance-like, through a succession of scenes, all beautifully composed, that suddenly coalesces in a Kafkaesque trial. A very disturbing chase, capped by this baffling denouement. No deliberate escape attempt to speak of, no bout of fisticuffs. Their attempts to wheedle his secrets was absent, all very puzzling. Here the prisoner is more a pawn, more reactive, more passive than in any other episode. The thing was, though, I couldn't forget it or erase it. Its presence whispered from the subliminal. So clearly it had made a deep impression. I concluded that, as realized by other admirers, it resonated with something deep inside. As the credits roll, I'm left with the sensation that this is more than the sum of its parts, that in some hidden way it speaks to my inner self. Just as with a later entry that we will come to, I was perhaps not surprised to see whenever a poll of 6 to 1 members was taken to list a favourite order of episodes, this never fared well. In 1978, it was 13th. In 1986, still outside the top 10. Finally, in 1992, it struggled in at 10th. Oh dear, something had to be done. I determined to research Dance of the Dead and then champion what its admirers feel is the quintessential prisoner episode that more than any other encapsulates the essence of the series. Consequently, I wrote to the author, Anthony Skene, and later to really the hero, John S. Smith, the editor who rescued the first cut and applying his considerable talents turned base metal into gold. This, plus other research, led me to writing what was the very first sizable appreciation of the episode to first appear in any one 6 of 1 magazine back in the summer of 1994. Interestingly, I was pleased that in turn this then triggered an influx of letters, comments, and further articles from people who had reconsidered it in the light of what I'd written. For myself, I continued to further research, interviewing others who had been involved with it and writing further essays. And indeed, I actually did hold a one-day seminar devoted to this episode. So, by the time I'd finished, in a 1997 poll, it actually hit the dizzying heights of 4th place. So, I would say on my Barrieometer, a definite 5-star. If a prisoner fan wished to showcase an episode to someone who had no idea what the show was all about, they could do no better than choose this. Of course, it would leave the newcomer totally confused, baffled and bewildered. But it is representative and has all the elements that make The Prisoner what it is. A great deal of location shooting, intense colour, cerebral, clever wordplay, visually poetic, a subtle and ingenious plot, no fight scenes at all, and yearning questions. Even the wine vintages were spot on. At the time, I was a professional wine taster, so I can verify that. Here's a few little points to ponder for you to think about. Without rules, where would societies be? Is it true the more complex a society, the more rules are required? Are rules for the guidance of the wise and the adherence of the foolish? Just as the prisoner discovers in this episode, in developed societies, an ignorance of the rules is no excuse. Is this fair? We sympathise with the prisoner, yet do we sympathise with our peers, if unknowing of rules? Secondly, consider this exchange between the prisoner and number 2. If you insist on living a dream, you may be taken for mad. I like my dream. Then you are mad. Are individuals who live their dream mad? If they do, who is to say that they're wrong? Without dreams, where would we be? Thirdly, does this episode qualify as poetry? If so, why? Einstein once issued a short, pithy, rather profound quote. He said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." Would you agree or disagree? Anthony Skene's scripts, Many Happy Returns, A, B and C, and this one, all share certain elements. One commentator once said his 3 episodes form a little series in themselves. Would you agree with this? Do you think they're linked? If so, how? He uses certain symbols like mirrors, night, dreams. He draws upon Greek mythology. So there's some of the things to think about. Number 6, death. When we're talking about Dance of the Dead, where is death here? Is it the dance? Is it the death of number 6 in some way? Is it the death of his personality to the outside world? Or is it physical? What form do you think that death takes here? When he says, he holds up his suit, and the maid says, what does it mean? He says, it means I'm still myself. Think about that as being one of the most profound moments in the entire series, when he's able to know that he is still himself. So yes, this is the episode that I've written 18,000 words on for my book. The 2 areas that I'll point you to are a 1941 film called The Devil and Daniel Webster, and the work of Jean Cocteau, particularly the film Orphée, which was filmed at the end of the Second World War. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Be seeing you.